What was kind of the impetus? What was the catalyst for like realizing, hey, I could create a plugin here?
To be honest, I was cleaning hacked websites, and as I said, like it's good to have some sort of logs to look back into,
Yeah.
and we didn't have. So as I left my job, I started writing about WordPress, having my own website. I did some freelance gigs and stuff like that as well. And I said, like, how difficult is it to develop a plugin and write when someone logs into a log file or something? This was my line of thing basically.
Yeah.
And I managed. I needed some sort of something that I could use while cleaning the websites. Basically, someone could run this plugin, and then of course we see what's happening. I also wanted to learn development, so yeah, I said let's just give it a try, and write a simple plugin that whenever someone logs in, it writes into a log file the timestamp, and yeah, who logged in basically.
Hey everybody, it's Roger with Kinsta. I'm joined today by a good friend, Robert. Hey Robert, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Roger? Okay.
I'm doing really great. I'm loving the glowing mic that you've got. I'm really excited to have this conversation. I was on your show a little while back, had a great time. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff that I've forgotten, but that's just my
Hosting, a lot of
nature.
about hosting. Yeah.
Hosting. That would make sense. But today it's my turn. I get to be the inquisitor. And, I want to get to all of the Melapress stuff at some point. But before we get there, I want to learn more about you and how you got into this business. So, like, take me all the way back. Like, what was your first computer? How did you get into computing?
First of all, thanks for having me. My first computer experience, actually, my cousin had a computer. It was an Atari, I forgot which one. Back then, we used to have, most probably you would know, but the newer generation wouldn't know. We used to have games on cassettes, actual cassette players.
Yes.
And if you touch the cable while it's loading, you have to wait another half an hour, basically.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, this is my first experience with computers. Then when I was, I would say around 11, 12, my parents got me, because I was really interested in computers in general, my parents got me an Amiga 500 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I started. Most people usually were playing games. I still played games, don't get me wrong, I like games. But started experimenting a bit. I started learning about, back then, Quick Basic and simple stuff, like building some sort of animations. I think the program was Deluxe Paint Pro or something like that.
Okay.
And yeah, and then when I at school back then in the mid 90s, computers weren't so popular yet in Malta, so I started studying electronics engineering. So I started working as a sponsor. The course I was doing, we had the first year full-time student, and then we had 3 years as an apprentice. So basically you have 2 days at school or 2 days at school and 2 days at work. And I started working on actual hardware. I was repairing motherboards, monitors, on the actual hardware.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting. A friend of mine was working for a software company called GFI Software, and they had some problems installing some drivers back then with SCSIs or Windows NT. Exactly, before triple. Yeah, exactly. It's a very, very old times, triple. And yeah, I went to help them, and I managed. And the founder of the company back then was walking by. Oh, you managed, thanks. Like, would you like to work with us? And yeah, there you go. I dropped out of school, and the whole process started from there. Then, of course, I started as a software tester. By the way, when I started, I didn't even know what an IP address was. As in, it's very, very basic. I mean, I had interest in computers and scripts and stuff, but networking, it was something totally new for me.
Okay.
So yeah, I started there as a software tester. I studied a lot in the evenings, doing a lot of courses and stuff. And I worked my way up to a systems engineer, basically. And we had 5 offices around the world and around 300 people before I left. So yeah, I've learned a lot at GFI for 7 years. And then I moved through a number of different companies until I was working for a company, Acunetics. We needed a blog, and that's where I discovered WordPress. I think it was 2011, something like that, yeah.
Okay. And then that's when it all changed. You realized, whoa, what is this?
Yes, exactly. Acunetics still is basically a security software company. They develop a web vulnerability scanner to find security issues in websites. I was a product manager there. And yeah, we needed a blog. And back then, security in WordPress was it was the early days, of course. So there were a few issues. In fact, I remember Sukuri launching the first version of Sukuri and stuff. And yeah, I had a friend, Jean Gallia from the Mayor, who was already into WordPress. and was telling me about this WordPress, about these meetups, all this social thing. Like, that's completely new to me.
Yeah.
And we tried to develop a security solution for WordPress back then, an online service. CAS were not that common back then, so we failed horribly. It's okay. I've learned a lot, quite frankly.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And then I left the company. I started I really enjoyed WordPress. By the way, while I was working even at GFI and all the other companies, I've always learned a lot by breaking things myself at home. I always had a hobby building some websites, writing some articles and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like most of us do. And so I started experimenting with WordPress, starting writing about it. I started getting some visits. Coming from a security background, I was quite surprised how come such a multi-user platform didn't have some sort of activity log. Okay. So that's and then I developed tried to develop the first version of the plugin with the help of some friends. And I started getting some downloads, and just then what was a hobby became a part-time, a full-time, and so this was my first experience with WordPress. I was quite surprised because I started cleaning hacked websites, I remember.
Okay.
In the early days, because I've always worked in security. My background, all the companies I've worked with were always startups and security startups. Okay. So I have a lot of exposure in the security industry, basically. So and the rest, basically here we are today.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I love the story. You kind of stumble upon WordPress. You already had a security background. I'm thinking back then, I mean, was this around like PHP 5.6 still? And, when PHP was kind of the problem for a little bit there.
As
right?
well, yes.
And so you got the plugin started. What was kind of the impetus? What was the catalyst for like realizing, hey, I could create a plugin here?
To be honest, I was cleaning hacked websites, and as I said, like it's good to have some sort of logs to look back into, and we didn't have. And I'm not a developer. I mean, as a systems engineer, I used to write a lot of scripts, bash scripts and these stuff, but it's a different type of development, of course. So I've done some basic stuff in the early days, but so as I left my job, I started writing about WordPress, having my own website. I did some freelance gigs and stuff like that as well. And I thought, how difficult is it to develop a plugin and write when someone logs into a log file or something? This was my line of thing, basically.
Yeah.
And I managed, but that's where I stopped as well, because I realized, of course, to go to the next level, you need to be an actual developer. But that was the line of thinking. I needed some sort of something that I could use while cleaning the websites. Basically, someone could run this plugin, and then of course we see what's happening. I also wanted to learn development, so I said, let's just give it a try and write a simple plugin that whenever someone logs in, it writes into a log file the timestamp and who logged in, basically.
Very straightforward. So did you hire a developer right away, or did you kind of bring somebody in on a contract basis to kind of help out at the beginning?
Yes, the early days were a bit turbulent kind of thing, because I didn't have a budget. I was still freelancing, so I was going on Upwork, finding someone random, like, oh, can we add this? Can we add this? Always like, and then slowly, when we started getting some serious downloads, I had some good freelance gigs. Okay. I was putting something to the side, something like 600 euros, 700 euros every month, which is like around $900 or so. Yeah, and then I started working with someone who I knew, actually, not through Upwork then, who I knew, who had a full-time job and was happy to help me like in the evenings. Okay. So I was paying him that money, and every evening we used to meet online and start building slowly the plugin and discuss what needs to be done, etc. And then we released, I remember, I think after 2 years, we released the first premium extension. Okay. It was quite interesting. It was like something like $39 back then. Yeah. We had the first sale after a week or two. And to celebrate it, I went out and I spent much more than $39, of course. But and slowly we started building, but it took me around, because I kept on. This guy was called Christian Shiberas. Hello from here. Maybe he'll be listening to this. Yeah. He helped me a lot, and then slowly we started making some money, plus some money from my end as a freelance, and I recruited someone part-time, basically like 4 hours a day or something like that. And slowly it started growing until we could get a full-timer. In fact, it's funny because I was not the first full-timer in my own business. The developer was first because I was still doing other work and to sustain the business kind of thing. But then slowly, yeah, we're doing enough money for me to join full time.
I love hearing the founder story, and I've heard this before, right? The first employee is not the founder because right, the money is tight, but you realize that you've got something that's going to happen. You just need to get the smart people involved to make it actually solid, and then you'll figure out the sales later. This is fascinating. I love kind of diving into, how all of this works. So at what point, where you came on full time, and it really started to become a business, what was kind of the next really good move where you realized, hey, here's the next hire that's really going to help take us to the next level?
To be honest, I had dropped all the freelance gigs apart from one. I was working with a company and it was almost, I would say I was working 5 hours a week on that freelance gig, and then I was working on the plugin and everything else. And I was planning to start full time in about a year's time. However, where I was working, the company got acquired and I was offered a job full time. I cannot join full time. So yeah, I just stopped 1 year earlier. I had, of course, a few savings because before I started all this adventure, I made sure I had enough savings. So, for rainy days, a few bad months or something like that. So yeah, and I realized actually, as soon as I joined full time, I realized that those extra 5 hours I had during the day, which before I was using for the freelance gig, allow me to do so much more. So then of course, things started picking up much quicker, like sending newsletters, starting preparing. And so it grew quite well. Personally, as I said, I have a technical background, but because I've worked several jobs, even like project manager and stuff, I'm not a marketeer, by the way. I'm a bit of a jack of all trades rather, Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I started doing a lot of things myself. Actually, I spent I think 2-3 years, just me and the developer full time.
Okay.
And then when things kind of started getting a bit serious, we recruited our first marketing person, because as I said, I know about marketing, but the basics, I don't. So that was time I could, because I've always worked in the tech space. Basically, I was able to manage the developer and speak to them and see what needs to be done. But the marketing was becoming a bit too much at that stage. Then keeping up with newsletters. It was the beginning, the boom of social media and stuff. So then I recruited, even the first marketeer we had was part-time as well.
Okay.
Because we didn't have that much demand. And slowly we started building from there.
Sure.
So we had a marketeer first. Yeah, sorry.
Well, no, I mean, it seems like a smart move, right? Incrementally building the company rather than overextending yourself and getting into more stressful situations.
Yes, it's also when it's bootstrapped, you have a certain budget, so you cannot just recruit people full time. And unfortunately, it's a bit difficult because usually you hire someone part-time. So then they stay with you for a year, or it depends how long, for a few months. And then when you ask them to join full time, most probably they would prefer to stick to their job because they know, of course, you're still a small company and so then you have to find someone else. So I had a lot in the early years. It was a bit difficult because I had a lot of the headcount was a bit high because you're always, if someone starts part time, then we need to move to full time. That person didn't want to move full time, for example, so you need to find someone else. It's a bit more difficult. In fact, I think almost every founder, in hindsight, looking backwards, I agree with almost what every founder says. I think the most difficult thing to do when starting or running a business is building a team. It's by far the most difficult.
Sure. I'm not a founder myself. I did have my agency for a little while and I never hired anybody. And I absolutely should have hired somebody earlier rather than just burning myself out. But enough about me. Tell us a little bit about the products that you've got now and what people could look for or why they need to consider you.
Sure. We have 6 plugins, but 3 of them are free. We have 3 freemium model, which are free and premium. Our flagship product is called WP Activity Log, and it basically keeps a log of what logged in users are doing on your website. If someone changed the content, who logged in, when they logged in, if someone installed the plugin, changed the plugin setting, it just keeps a log of what's happening. In its most simplistic form, because of course it got much more features, the search, email notifications, instant SMS notification, instant Slack notifications, integration with CM, with logging systems like AWS CloudWatch, etc. The second plugin is WP2FA, which is two-factor. Well, the name is two-factor, but it's becoming a multi-factor authentication solution for WordPress. It's to add two-factor authentication. The free edition, it's a fully working solution. People can use it without any problems. But of course, if you need to use hardware keys or you need to use trusted machines and all these more security features, more automations, then there is the premium edition. And we also have Melapress login security, which is a plugin to enforce login security policies, such as password strength, login times, IP restrictions, and all of these kind of like even like trusted machines as well. Like for example, if someone always logs in from the same machine, and then they log in from a different machine, it sends you an email like, we noticed that you've logged in from this machine. Is that you? These type of security features to help users keep their account secure. And we just launched a few months ago. We launched Melapress Role Editor. Basically, it's still free, just the free edition for now. It's still version 1.0 is the first version. Actually 1.1. We just released an update 2 weeks ago or so. It's basically we're trying, because we use a role editor plugin ourselves, and there are some very good ones out there in all fairness, but they are all, the way I see it, that's why we also started WP2FA, by the way. The way with the role editors is that they are very developer focused, as in you would expect, the plugin expects that you know what capabilities are, you know how to create a capability and stuff like that. So we created Melapress Role Editor trying to kind of like simplify the process so users don't have to be technical to create custom roles. You don't have to know, which capability. You can write, for example, this person will publish blog posts, for example, and it will suggest which capabilities fit in to what you typed in.
Very slick. Are you using any AI in that to help with the setup?
It's a sort of like very primitive AI yet,
Yeah.
But yes, we've been, I think like every other company, the last few months I've been to a few conferences and you see AI everywhere, online, in conferences, at every booth. So yeah, we've been playing with some AI ideas and there are some very good ones, of course. Like even with WP Activity Log, we've been thinking about some different AI solutions, how we can benefit from AI as a plugin. But so far we don't have anything official, but we are looking into different possible AI solutions for our users. Yes. Yeah.
I dig it. I think with the role creator, right, that seems like a great fit. I was just having a conversation with Casey over at Gravity Kit, and we were talking about how with their system, it allows users to easily edit a page that's been generated. And we were talking about user roles and how you would probably want to lock it down so that certain users, that's all they can do, right? They can't even do posts or anything. And it sounds like with your plugin, it would be really easy for people, non-technical people, to be able to set all that up. So that's really awesome. That's very encouraging. We're on the topic of AI, and so I want to get some of your thoughts here from a behind the scenes, back office perspective. How much is AI being utilized inside of your company at this point?
We are using it. We started off a few months ago, or a year ago, or maybe more. Started with marketing basically, because we don't just copy and paste, of course, but yeah, it helps you like move things quite quickly. Even with operations, for example, you get a contract, even simple things, you get a contract from a recruiter, for example. Instead of reading it all, you can feed it to AI, like, can you tell me what stands out in this contract? What should I agree to? What should I give me executive stuff? So we started that one, but we're also slowly experimenting also a bit with development, because of course you should be cautious about these things because of security and this stuff, but definitely like even in just last 6 months AI has improved a lot. I was speaking to Joost de Valk, the founder of Yoast SEO, just a few weeks ago, and that's what he told me. Like he was just writing some module for his new plugin Progress Planner. He told me I sent like around 1,200 lines of code to his developers, all AI generated. And to them, they only left 4 comments, as in like it's becoming really, really good. So of course, as long as you have certain guardrails, like checking the code, making sure stuff, it's definitely helping speeding up things. I mean, I've been using it myself already, like as I said, marketing, but also like some stuff. Sometimes we need some small application or some simple integration for internal use with some API, instead of stopping developers from working on our plugins, stopping them for 2 or 3 days and interrupting them. I use it myself. I need a script. I need to do this. You run it, maybe you go back and forth maybe 3-4 times, but yeah, it's really efficient. So yes, AI is making life Yeah, much. It's funny because many people say with AI you're going to win much more time, so you can have more free time. The reality is with AI actually you do much more, you move faster, so you need to do even much more.
No, I have the same issue, right? Where it does free up time, right? But what it instead is, it's freeing up time for the stuff that I didn't have time to work on earlier, and now I'm able to just add more things to what's happening there. Robert, this has been an amazing conversation. We've hit my time limit that I like to try and keep these short and sweet. This has been a lot of fun. I want to have you back on. I want to talk some more about all of these, especially AI, but about the products you guys are working on. If people want to get in touch with you or they want to purchase or use your products in the meantime, what is the best place for them to go to?
Yes, for our products you can go to melapress.com, which is our website. To get in touch with me, you can always. I'm very active actually on LinkedIn, on Twitter, but mostly on LinkedIn. I'm very active, so they can contact me there. And yeah, and I'll reply to all the messages. I always reply to the messages. So yeah, they need to be
Excellent.
careful because the name of the Prime Minister of Malta is also Robert Abela. So whenever you search, most probably he comes up first. But yeah.
Well, we'll make sure to link directly to you and not the prime minister, so people are going to the right place. Robert, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate your time. It's always lovely to talk to you. Please have a great day.
Thanks. Likewise, it was a pleasure. Thanks, Roger.